That's certainly a song, chat. This is certainly a song. I don't know how I felt about it, but what is going on, friends? We have another full day of baseball ahead of us. 3 games tomorrow, but there is another game from the wild card series in the books. We do have one team moving on today, and that is the Los Angeles Dodgers. We're actually going to talk about that game first. So if we're starting here with the Dodgers, again, Reds versus Dodgers, this was a series matchup that I really felt kind of favored the Dodgers. I mean, the Reds, obviously a great feel-good story. They were able to knock off the Mets in that third wild card spot, but having to play the Dodgers, it just felt like a tall task, and the Dodgers are now going to move on to play the Phillies. Now, taking a look at the box score here, I mean, the Dodgers put up 15 hits and 10 runs in this one. We had, wait, that's game 1. How did we get here? Well, that's today. Wait, what? That was, here we go. Sorry, 8-4, my bad. 13 hits and 8 runs in this one. The Reds, 4 runs on 6 hits today. So let's take a look here first at the Dodgers. Shohei went 1 for 4 with an RBI in this one. He did walk as well. Mookie Betts, though, had a big night. 4 for 5 with 3 of the 8 runs batted in this game. Teoscar Hernandez also 1 for 5 with a couple of runs batted in today as well. He hit 2 home runs yesterday. Kike Hernandez, a couple of hits, and he had an RBI. And then Ben Rortvedt had scored 2 runs today, and he went 2 for 3. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, 6 2/3, 4 hits, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts, no earned. Blake Trinan came in for that final out there in the 7th inning, got the job done. And then Emmett Sheehan came in just for a third of an inning, couldn't quite get the job done. 2 hits, 2 earned with 2 walks. But nonetheless, again, the Dodgers do come away with this one. The Reds were kind of threatening there in the 8th inning. Again, the Reds were only able to score a couple of runs there in the 8th, and that was kind of all she wrote for this one. But nonetheless, the Dodgers over the Reds. The Dodgers now have to go on to play the Phillies. And so let me throw a poll up in the chat really quick for you guys. If I can pull it up here. Let me throw a poll up in the chat, because I think that's going to be an interesting series. And I think that, honestly, what do you guys think? Are you guys going Phillies in that regard? I think that the Phillies are the team to beat in the National League with, I don't know what's up with my Google, Jim. The Phillies, I think, are the team to beat in the National League. I think that with how their team is built and honestly how they play at home, obviously they're going to be the ones hosting the Dodgers in this one. I think that the Phillies are kind of going to run away with this one. Now, let me put the poll up in chat here. Who is going to win the NLDS? Phillies or Dodgers? Go ahead and vote in the poll. And if you guys are watching this on the replay, go ahead and just put it down in the comments below. And we'll kind of figure it out from there. But yeah, I think that's the Phillies series to lose, in my opinion. They're a fantastic team. They have a really good pitching staff. Not having Zach Wheeler is a bit of an L for them. That's definitely something that's going to hurt them in the long run. But again, we don't have to worry about that until Saturday rolls around. Now let's talk about, we'll go in descending order here. We had the Red Sox and Yankees game today. Now, this was a closer game than I think I anticipated it being. It was a 4-3 victory for the Yankees. It was a run that came in the 8th inning for them. Let me pull it back up here for you. It was a run that came in the 8th inning for the Yankees. And when it comes to the way the Yankees played, they had a chance for Aaron Judge to be the hero in this one. And he struck out on just on 3 pitches in the strike zone. If he would hit the 2-run home run to give them the lead, then, maybe the MVP was right there, right? But Aaron Judge in this one did have an RBI. He went 2 for 4. Trent Grisham had a run, a walk, and a hit in this game as well. Ben Rice with that big 2-run home run. Austin Wells had a really clutch RBI in this one that eventually gave the Yankees the lead. Carlos Rodon, I was honestly surprised at how deep they let him go. He had 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 3 earned, 3 walks, and 6 strikeouts. Fernando Cruz came in and got out of a jam. He did a great job. Devin Williams, 1 hit and 1 strikeout. And then David Bednar in to close that game out with a couple of Ks. On the Red Sox side of things, Trevor Story was the guy. It was a 3-run home run from Trevor Story. Or no, he hit a home run, but he also had 2 more runs knocked in as well. Story was the offense for the Red Sox in this game. And other than Trevor Story, I mean, what? Nate Eaton had a hit, Jarren Duran had a hit, Alex Bregman had a hit, and Masa Yoshida had a hit. So, yeah, a pretty rough game outing for the Red Sox in the hits column. Again, Rodon was pretty good in this one, but they were able to walk away with this victory, which forces a game 3, chat. Now, Brian Bayo started this game for the Red Sox. 2 1/3, 4 hits, 2 earned, 1 walk. 1 2/3 from Justin Wilson. They really did go through their pitching staff in this one. But Garrett Whitlock ends up being the guy that gives up the earned run on the Austin Wells hit that secured the victory for the Yankees. Now, if we're looking at the probable pitchers tomorrow, Conley early and Cam Schlittler, a couple of very, very good rookies in early and Schlittler. This is going to be a fun game, in my opinion, because this is win or go home, right? Game 3's always the best. I love watching game 3s because, you know, you have a chance to move on, but you also have a chance to be the loser in this one. And with Conley early, he, you know, came up a little bit later in the season, but did a great job. Speaks to his 2.33 ERA with 29 strikeouts. Cam Schlittler came up a little bit earlier, 2.96 ERA with 84 strikeouts. I will be shocked if we do not see both teams using the bullpen pretty quickly and giving these guys a relatively short leash in this one. I would assume that that's going to be the case with a couple of rookies on the mound. So let me put in the chat really quick. We're going to end this poll. We're going to end that poll for the Phillies and the Dodgers. I'm not 100% shocked that the Phillies are coming away with this one over the Dodgers, but nonetheless, it makes some sense. So we're going to start a new poll here. Who wins game 3? Red Sox, Yankees. I'll be interested to see what you guys say here, because this team is going to be moving on to face the Toronto Blue Jays. So let me know what you guys think. The Phillies came out on top, 65% over 35% to the Dodgers. I'm sorry, BC, but yeah, the Phillies are coming out on top in the chat. Moving on now, we have to talk about the Chicago Cubs game, which was actually going on while I was at the Mariners scrimmage today, so I didn't get to watch a ton of this game. It didn't matter. The Padres absolutely owned this game from start to finish, and that's kind of what I expected going into game 1. I honestly expected the Padres to be the team to beat here. 3 runs on 7 hits, 1 run in that first inning, and then 2 runs in the 5th inning in this one. Manny Machado with a big 2-run home run in the 5th. Jackson Merrill also had an RBI there. So yeah, for the Padres, they're honestly, in my opinion, kind of the team to watch out for in that National League wild card right now. And moving on, they would then face the Brewers. I honestly think we might see an upset there with the Padres and the Brewers. In my opinion, the Padres are just way too good of a team to not go deep into the playoffs this year. Looking at their pitching staff, Dylan Cease, 3 2/3, 3 hits, 5 strikeouts, 1 walk. Morahone came in, 2 1/3 for him. Good for him with 1 strikeout. Mason Miller. What more can you say about Mason Miller than what he's done so far in the postseason? I Bleav he's faced 8 batters, and he has 8 strikeouts. Absolutely disgusting stuff out of Miller. I think he threw a ball 104 today. Just insane. You have Robert Suarez there at 1 1/3 with 1 hit. Nothing else to show for it. I honestly do think that the Padres have the best bullpen in the playoffs this year, truthfully. Andrew Kittredge was the opener for the Cubs in this one. 1 inning pitch, 2 hits, 1 earned, 1 strikeout. And then Shota Imanaga came in through 4 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts. Caleb Thielbar, 2/3 of an inning, a hit, a walk, and a strikeout. Colin Ray, Taylor Rogers, and Michael Soroka were able to continue a couple of shutout innings there from the Cubs bullpen, but in the end, it wasn't enough. So let's take a look now at the Cubs tomorrow. Yu Darvish on the mound versus Jameson Taillon. That's a very interesting matchup because honestly, Yu Darvish is the veteran, but he hasn't pitched a whole lot this year. He's been hurt. And obviously Jameson Taillon's a veteran too, but Yu Darvish has just been around and been really good for quite some time. Might as well go win the whole heckin' thing. Here we go. Here it is, chat. But Taillon has the better numbers on the year. A 3.68 ERA with 98 strikeouts. He was 11-7 on the season as well. Darvish 5-5 with a 5.38 and 68 strikeouts. So I think in that game, chat, and maybe you guys agree, maybe you don't. We're gonna find out here in just a second. I think personally, I like the Padres in that game. We're gonna close the poll here on the Red Sox and Yankees. 70% of you had the Red Sox taking down the Yankees. Again, hang on. If you guys are watching this on the replay, be sure to leave it down in the comments. Who wins game 3? I can't type and talk apparently. Padres, Cubs. I'm gonna start that poll. Let me know who you guys think is gonna win that one. Again, I'm kind of leaning towards the Padres, especially with Yu Darvish on the mound. I think that Darvish is going to lock in, and I think the Padres play really well in big moments. But I think that the Cubs have a pretty dang good offense, and if they can just get it going, which they weren't able to do in Game 2, I think they'll be all right. But we have to talk about the final game, or I guess the first game of today really quick, and that was, of course, the one that I think is of the utmost importance to all the rest of us, and that is the Guardians and the Tigers game. This was a close game. 1 run for the Guardians in the first inning, 1 run for the Tigers in the fourth. The Tigers were really, really close to having a 3rd run, but the runner was thrown out on a Javi Baez single. The runner at 3rd was thrown out trying to make it to 3rd, and therefore the 2nd run that crossed the plate did not count because he did not touch home plate before that out happened. It would have given the Tigers a 2-1 lead. Instead, this game was tied, and it stayed that way until the 8th inning. A big home run from Bo Naylor, Josh's brother, in this one. And at that point, the Guardians were just off and rolling. Again, Brian Rocchio, playoff Rocchio, came into play in this one as well. If we look at Rocchio's numbers, he was 1 for 3 with a homer. Bo Naylor had a home run. George Valera had a home run in this one. Jose Ramirez was 0 for 1 with 3 walks. I mean, overall, this is kind of the home runs for the Guardians have been relatively few and far between this year, so it was kind of shocking to see them hit this many home runs. On the pitching side of things, Tanner Bybee, 4 2/3, 5 hits, 1 earned, 3 walks, and 6 strikeouts. Sobrowski came in with a walk and a strikeout. Hunter Gaddis gave up 2 hits and 2/3 of an inning. Tim Herron got 2 strikeouts and 2/3 of an inning, but nonetheless, they held it scoreless other than that 1 run that Tanner Bybee gave up. For the Tigers, though, Troy Melton was the one who really fell apart in this one. 1/3 of an inning, 3 hits, 4 earned with 1 walk. That was obviously in that bottom of the 8th inning. Just a rough go of it for Troy Melton. I mean, for everything that you can say about the Tigers bullpen, I was shocked personally to see Casey Mize pulled at 62 pitches. I think that he probably could have kept going, but Tyler Holton came in. Obviously, the Guardians have a lot of lefties in their lineup, so maybe that made a little bit of sense. But Game 3 is going to be tomorrow. I believe it is at... Oh, it's a little bit later. It's at noon tomorrow, huh? Is that true? Hang on. Is that true that it's at noon tomorrow? No, it's at 10:08. What am I looking at? I don't know. Let me bring you guys into it. Well, you guys are looking at it right now. It says it's at 3:08 p.m. Eastern, but the MLB at Bat App says it's at 10:08. Nonetheless, over on the Mariner Mojo channel, or I guess on the Mariner Mojo channel, we're gonna be doing the a watch along for this game, because this game has the utmost importance, because this game decides who the Mariners are gonna play in the division series. October 2nd, time TBD. Jack Flaherty versus Slade Cecconi. I think this is a very interesting matchup because Flaherty's been there, done that. But Slade Cecconi's been really good as of late. Now, I know it doesn't necessarily look like it when you look at his numbers. He's got a 4.3 ERA on the year. But over his last 7 games, he has a 3.86 ERA over 42 innings. He pitched 7 innings versus the Twins, albeit it was the Twins, with no earned. 5 2/3 versus the White Sox with 2 earned. I think that hopefully, and I see a lot of you guys talking about it in chat, hopefully this game goes like 15 innings and they have to burn so many of their relievers that they're all exhausted coming into Seattle, whichever team it is, coming into Seattle on Saturday. But yeah, this is the game that I find the most interesting, and I think that you guys probably do too. It'll be interesting to see what happens for those 3 game threes. I'm glad we get 3 game threes because that's just so much more fun than everything ending in 2 games. But let me know what you guys think.